will show today how to replace a tube. From my experience, even if people theoretically know how to do it, many of them are afraid to do it by themselves because it feels for them, or they think it's way too complicated, or they will struggle, or for them it's sometimes a big stress. So from my experience, I still can see that many people don't know or don't want to do it. But from my point of view, it's a very simple and pretty quick thing to do that everybody should, because if you have a puncture on the road, you have no choice. You have to call somebody or just look for someone's help. And I think this is one of the easiest things that you can do. This is a wheel from my bike. It's a road bike, and this is a front wheel. Let's say you are outside and you punctured. You can feel that the tire gets flat. Something happened with the tube inside. So the most important thing is just to try to take it off from the rim. So in this case, the things that is good to have is a pump and tire lever, a simple plastic tool to work on the tire, and the new tube. In this case, this is in the plastic bag. So first thing that you need to do is just try to remove one side from the rim. You use the tire lever, put it underneath the tire, and what you do is just pull the tire lever and go around, and then it looks like that. So one side is removed from the rim. And now what you do, you just remove the tube, damaged tube, from the wheel. Take it, and what's important, you need to check where the damage is, so where the hole in the tube is. So you pressurize the tube, yeah, and I found one small hole. Potentially something was on the road and it went through the tire and damaged the tube. Today I will not talk about fixing those, I will just explain how to replace it. So important is you look at the tube where the valve starts, and let's say it's about 40 centimeters from the valve. So in this case, you take a wheel, look for the point where the opening for the tube is, and just try to count about 40 centimeters from the spot where the valve is. And then you go through the tire where the puncture was and check inside if anything is there. If you don't remove the object that damaged the tube, the same will happen straight away when you start to ride, because the sharp object will go through the tire and the new tube as well. So you look for it and just remove it from the tire. In this case, it's nothing here, so potentially the bit just damaged the tube, but it was not. It doesn't remain in the tire. So if you looked inside, checked if anything is there, feels fine. So in this case, that means that it's a good time to start to fit a new tube. So depends on your preferences, you can take the old tube with you, doing, for example, this, and put it in the saddlebag or in your pocket in your jersey. And then, in this case, I have a new tube, so this is the same size standard road bike tube. This is the tube from Bontrager. The size is here, in this case 700 times 1825C. The other sizes, other sizing is sometimes 28C. So what I do now is just remove the cap and this ring from the tube, open the valve and put some pressure in the tube. Because it's easier to fit when it's slightly pressurized. Yeah, I lock this. So, looks like that. And now is the time to fit it. I look first for the hole. The hole is here, so I start here. Fit the tube. Put it on the ground and just go around like that and try to fit the tube inside the rim. Yeah, so now the tube is inside. What I do, I remove the air from the tube, and now is the hardest thing, what people say. I try to fit the second side of the tire. From my experience, the best thing to do is just hold the wheel like that, put it here, and start to go around where the valve is. It's important to push the valve inside so it doesn't get trapped between the tire and the rim. And what I do normally, I just go around. Yeah. And this is the last bit, the hardest part of the job. For the road bike wheels, tires and tubes, it's recommended to use the hands, not any tools, because this tool might be too sharp and might damage the new tube. So what I do, I hold the wheel and try to push the tire inside. This was pretty easy. This tire is easy to fit, and now the tube is inside. I check once again if the valve is inside the tire, not outside. Then I take this small silver ring to secure the tube. And now the last part of the procedure, fitting a pump. Yeah, and this pump is pretty easy to use because it has this flexible hose, so it's safe for the valve. So, and I of course pressurize the tube to the pressure that I want to use. So for the road bikes, it takes a little bit longer. Yeah. And let's say that's more or less all what you need to do when you puncture. So the procedure is pretty simple, but it's good to try at home before you go for a ride, because you do it in controlled conditions. So you are not stressed by rain, by your colleagues, by anybody who waits for you. So you can just do it and see how this works. I'm pretty sure that almost every rider can do it without any trouble.